THE 206 Instructional Method, Materials, and Technology. First topic, teachers and students of the early generation versus teachers and students of the 21st century. The instruction in the early generation versus instructions in the 21st century. And the 21st century skill. Teachers and students of the early generations, the classroom teaching during the early years would revolve around the sage on the stage. In this period, teachers were the ones who manipulate the discussion while the students would just be listening to the lecture. Students depend so much from the teacher when it comes to learning. The technique most commonly used was the cold chalk and talk technique. Students listen passively to the discussion. They only speak or answer when they are asked. They learn theories through memorization of text. The teacher would really use much of his time posting Manila paper and cartolina strips on the board. This is called the traditional teaching. The lecturer became facilitator of learning. New teaching methods includes discussion and inquiries rather than just telling. So, what's the difference between the teachers of past year to this century? The teachers of yesteryears versus the teachers of the 21st century. The teachers of yesteryears disseminate information through lectures. They require students to memorize contents from the textbook. They make use of the textbook and workbooks as their reference. They give assessments through written examination. They focus on their responsibility and relationship with the students as recipient of knowledge. Followers of policy prescribed by the school, and they use lecture as the teaching method. The teachers of the 21st century allow students to solve real-world problems. They also allow students to construct their own understanding. They make use of manipulative materials, make use of multitude of prints and electronic sources, give performance-based assessment or performance tasks, widen their responsibility and their relationship with colleagues, community, and other stakeholders in acquiring clear, obtainable standard for knowledge, skills, values that the students are expected to acquire. They participate in the decision-making in schools, and they use a variety of teaching methods appropriate in the students' learning. The teachers of yesteryears too focus on self-achievement. They target to finish the lesson within the period. Autocratic, in which teachers are in control of everything in all events of the classroom. Holder of knowledge, gatekeeper of information. They deliver the same lesson every year, and technology illiterate. While the teachers of the 21st century are mentoring new teachers, target the learners to be ready in the challenges of today learning. Democratic, in which teachers allow students to take responsibility in their learning. They foster learning autonomy, where students also learn to take responsibility in their learning. Facilitator of learning, spend time in researching to update his or her knowledge of the subject matter. And technology or digital literate. In 1950s and 1960s, developments in communication theory and system concepts led to studies of the educational process, its elements and their interrelationship. Among these elements are the teacher, the teaching method, the information conveyed, the material used, and the student's responses. As a result of these studies, the field of audiovisual shifted its emphasis from devices and materials to the examination of the teaching-learning process. The field is now known as audiovisual communication and educational technology. And audiovisual materials were viewed as the integral part of educational system. Are the roles of teachers in the yesteryears still effective in the 21st century? Let us take a closer look of the difference of the students of yesteryears and the students of the 21st century. The students of yesteryears are the receiver of facts and information. They learn based on repetition. They are textbook users, passive recipients of information, and competitive learners. While the millennial students are active creator of knowledge, interactive knowledge constructor, internet users to access a vast of information, actively engage in class activities, and collaborative learners. Students of yesteryears are also factual thinkers, unilateral thinkers, inactive process of learning, dependent learners, single taskers, single sensory input provider. While the millennial students are reflective, critical, and creative thinkers, divergent thinkers, dynamic process of learning, self-managing learners, multitaskers, multisensory input provider. Are the roles of the teachers in the yesteryears still effective in the 21st century? Instructions in the early generation versus the 21st century. Traditional learning, teacher-centered, single-sense simulation, single-path progression, single medium, isolated work, information delivery, passive learning, factual knowledge-based learning, reactive response, and isolated artificial context. While new learning environments are student-centered, multisensory stimulation, multi-path progression, multimedia, collaborative work, information exchange, active exploratory inquiry-based learning, critical thinking and informed decision-making, proactive planned action, and authentic real-world context. According to Mark Brensky, our students have changed radically, and that today's students are no longer the people our educational system was designed to teach. So we need to change. Teaching the 21st century learners is not an easy task. Methods must be applicable for the learners. Teachers must flex to the needs of the learners. And digital natives will not go backwards. So with this, we need to be connecting with the disconnected. As per Bill Gates, technology is just a tool in terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them. The teacher is still the most important. If we want to understand the world of our students, we must be willing to immerse ourselves in their world. We must embrace the new digital reality. If the teachers can't relate, if the teachers don't get it, then we don't be able to make school relevant to the current and future needs of digital generation. Legal issues for using technology in the classroom. First is the copyright. It is the legal right of authors to prohibit others from copying their work. It is in RA 8293 or the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. What to do? Set an example for the students and be a role model by following the laws themselves. Educate students on giving proper credit to the author, owner, when using information prepared by them, and also how to paraphrase. Educate students on how to correctly cite an author's work. Next is the fair use. The fair use is a doctrine in copyright law that allows limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holder. It provides for the legal incorporation of copyrighted material into another work under limited conditions. Incorporates four factors: the purpose of the use, the nature of the work, the portion used, and the effect on the market. What to do? Create a fair use handout for students, including instruction on portion limitations. Educate the student on the importance of giving credit for the materials used and how to correctly cite the sources. Educate its students on the following fair use guides when using quotations in their writing. Next is the Creative Commons. It is a set of licensing tools that stand between all rights reserved of traditional copyright and no rights reserved that is public domain. This applies to text, blogs, music, audio recordings, podcasts, photographs, videos, songs, websites, and films found in the internet. Examples for using Creative Commons are adding images to PowerPoint, blogs, visuals, and other teaching materials. To enhance student learning, you will have to cite these images. Next is create videos on YouTube when creating with Creative Commons. YouTube allows users to mark their videos with CC. These videos are then accessible to YouTubers for use, even commercially, in their own videos via YouTube Video Editor. Attribution is automatic under the CC by license, using that any video you create using CC or Creative Commons content will automatically show the source video's titles underneath the video player.